Pumped about. There it is, recording in progress. Here we go. Today we are going to spot the gap. We are going to take a look at what do you have right now and what do you want? And how do we close that gap in the middle so that you can move from what you currently have or your current situation and stepping into what you want. But before we do that, many of you on this call right now were here last week. So I need you to drop into the chat and let me know what is one win you've had as a leader since last Thursday. So if you were here last week, you know that we were talking about you and the leader that you are and the leader that you aspire to be. And we were really trying to look at how can you spark leadership among other people around you by you taking action and you truly stepping into the person you are meant to be. And so, on that note, last week, my challenge for you was to show up as a leader. Now, I did give you 8 days. So, some of you are like, Anne, you are asking us for accountability after only 2 work days. Yes, I am, friends. So, show up as the leader that you need to be, take intentional actions, and notice the shift. Has anybody seen a win since last week? I'll tell you, my Friday and my weekend got totally derailed, and that's okay. So if I were dropping in the chat right now, I'd be like, I'm starting with intention today, Anne, because yesterday was my daughter's 13th birthday, which was super exciting, and we had family over. So I was like cleaning my house Friday. People were in it all day Saturday, Sunday. And I really didn't have a chance to really utilize what we had talked about last Thursday until today. And so, what is one win since last Thursday that you've had? Oh, let's fire up this chat, friends. Literally, fire it up. It is called Ignite Impact. It can be one small, eensy, weensy win. Does not matter. Love it. Mary is coming at us with, I held individual meetings with 2 employees. Exactly. Wanted to notice patience in my life from Sarah. I got a chance to practice when a brand new client decided not to notify me that they weren't coming in. I bet Sarah just sat there so nicely with a smile, breathing exercises, right? And just being patient that they will come. They will come. Not necessarily that day, but hopefully they come back. Took time to get organized and reset, Sarah. That is always a win as well. Love it. All right. Today we're going to spot the gap. Like I said, if you don't know who I am, I think all of you were here last week. But if you are watching the replay and you have not had a chance to meet me, my name is Ann Vogt, and I am a culture coach and a motivational speaker. And I am here to empower leaders to create change. And today we're going to do just that with your actions. You cannot build momentum if you are unclear about what's in the way. Last week, we talked about you are the spark, you are the leader, you are the one that needs to take the first step. And today, we're going to say you might be taking lots of steps, but there might be something in your way, and you are not getting over the gap to get to the vision that you see for yourself. And so, we are going to do just that today. Let's notice the space between what is, what we have, and what could be or what our vision is. And we are going to do that today without judgment. I think a lot of times as leaders, we really want to be the best version of ourselves. We want things to go perfectly. We want everyone to see us a certain way. We're very into what we are being perceived as from other people. And so there, we sometimes judge ourselves for how we're not where we want to be or how we want others acting or experiencing us. And we need to do that without judgment. We need to take a hard look at ourselves so that we can create that momentum instead of staying stuck or just not living in reality and knowing that we need to kind of take those actions to create change. So here we go. I always work out of this this impact method. So today we're going to do investigate again. We're investigating something very different this time. So a lot of times we investigate who we're being as leaders, but we're also investigating our team and our actions, which is exactly what we're going to get to today. We're not going to get into model, problem solve, appreciate, cultivate, but we will be transforming our culture by the end of today, really taking action so that we can create more of what we say we want. All right, what's one area where your team isn't quite where you want it to be? Or this is just you drop it in the chat. We're just starting to get the brainstorming going. We are not on the worksheet yet. I know some of you are like, step one, Ann, where are we? We're not there yet. We're going to get there in one slide. But right now, what's one area where your team isn't quite where you want it to be? Or what's one area where you're not getting a result you want and you're looking at yourself? Absolutely be reflecting of yourself right now, too, especially if you don't have a team. But what's one area where you're just kind of falling short? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. You can be as cryptic or as clear as you want. I love it. Somebody wrote social media. I know for me, I'm just really struggling with my communication. I think I'm in this overwhelm right now. And in that overwhelm, I'm trying to rapid fire communication and it's just not as clear as I would love it to be. And so for me, what's one area where your team isn't quite where you want it to be? My team isn't clear of what they need from me because I'm not clear on what I need from them. And so that's something I really want to be working on in today's lesson that we're going to be walking through. All right, here we go. Some of you are just ready. I can see it in your faces. I can see it with that worksheet that is right in front of you. So let's go. I did today write investigate the status quo. So the status quo is what is currently going on. That is going to be on the left side in that orange column there where it's just not ideal. I want you just brainstorming. What are some situations happening with you that's going on right now with yourself, with your team? Maybe it's not even your team. Maybe your team is great, but like the processes, that's where I just shared I'm struggling is the process to communicate what I need. That's really struggling for me right now. What's going on that's just not ideal? We're going to work in that left-hand column for about a minute and a half. Drop down as many ideas. I did make some lines for you. I was chuckling because I think some of you are very, you don't need the worksheet. You could just be scribbling all over a notebook page right now. And others of you are like, where's the boxes, Anne? And so I wanted to make sure that I did kind of a little bit of both, giving you plenty of space, but also some structure at the same time. Go ahead, take a minute and a half to 2 minutes on not ideal things happening right now for you. And again, no judgment. No one's to blame. This is just where we're at, status quo. Go ahead. And then, yes, let's drop over to the other side. If that's not ideal, what you have going on the left-hand side, what is it you want to see? I usually also say, like, what is it you want to feel? So sometimes we might write something like lacking communication on the not ideal. So we're lacking communication. Well, if I were filling this out, I'd say, what do I want to see? More communication. Okay, but that is not specific. That is not specific enough to then go take action on that. And so maybe think of what do you want to feel is maybe a better question, or what do you want to experience so that you can move from lack of communication to what do you want to see? A communication process, a shared document, so that I can communicate easily with my team. Really get specific on this right hand side because sometimes we get vague and then you can't really take action on this. You get done with this call at 1:45 and you go, okay, well, I guess I got to work on my communication. It's just not clear enough for our brains. So get really clear. What do you want to see? What do you want to feel? I want to feel like I can give up tasks. Great. So instead of lack of communication, I want to feel like I can give up tasks. And so now, when I go to the back side of this worksheet in a minute, I'm going to be able to choose an action plan based on that. I'm going to give you just a minute to go ahead and fill in some ideas there of what do you want to see. If you are watching this playback, please know that I'm not going to pause every time there's a break for people to work because I want you to not pause the video. I want you to just keep watching like you're doing it in real time so that you can experience this at the same time. So thank you for watching the playback. You're one of the 25%. But that's why we're not pausing every time that I ask them to do a task. All right. And I forgot to give you a heads up that we are going to do some live coaching in a little bit. So we're going to be walking through some of these ideas, and I am going to ask you to share so that we can really see how we can get specific in that what do we want to see and what action we want to take. So we're going to get there. But for a minute, let's take a look at the anatomy of the gap. I love this idea of really seeing it for what it is. So the gap is really your vision minus reality. And so if we look at, okay, what do I want to see? What do I want to experience with my team? And then what is reality? What am I actually seeing? And then take a look where the double down arrows are. Like that's the gap. How do we close that gap so that what we see is what we want to see and what we want to experience? And so that vision is really what you expect, what you desire. Some of you are maybe listening to this and saying to yourself, they already know what I expect. I've been very clear on what I expect from my team, yet it's not happening. And that can be really stressful and that can feel a little isolating because as a leader, we feel like, man, I've said all the things, I've done all the things, but I'm not getting the result I want. And it's okay to recognize that. What's not okay is to say that's just how it's always going to be. So, as a culture coach, I work with clients to literally do this. We start out with what do you want? How do you want people to feel? How do you want people to engage with you? How do you want to see that things are moving? How do you want to build momentum? That's their vision. And then we say, okay, great. Where are we? Where are we with all of those? And sometimes we have a huge gap we got to close that I'm like, we're not closing that gap for 4 to 6 weeks. And other times it's just a conversation. And that is what's going to close that gap. And so this is really good for leaders to kind of take a look at this and then look at the action you need to take. And I love the comment down at the bottom of the gap is just your opportunity. It's just your opportunity. You need to recognize the opportunity and then you need to go close that gap and really lead from yourself. Be the leader that closes the gap. So, how do we do that? And what do we need to know? Gaps are normal, right? There's no way that you're going to step into a leadership position. Day one, you're going to say, hey, everybody, new expectations, new boundaries, new way of doing everything. And right off the get go, everybody does it. It's just not how it works. And so having gaps are normal. They're not failures. It's not a reflection on who you are as a leader. It's feedback. It's feedback of what do we need to do? What actions do we need to take? And this idea of leaders who can notice the gap can close the gap. So if you are sitting here today and you filled out that top box, those top chart where you wrote, this is not ideal. Here's where I'd like to go. And in a second, we're going to look at what's in your way. Great. Now let's go close it because you've already noticed it. You already know what's there. And so let's go reflect on that. On the back, flip that over on the worksheet. I didn't know if I wanted you to take a look at just one gap. I think there are people on this call right now that they're like so frustrated with one situation. And for you, I want you to take a look at one situation and one gap. And I really want you to work for the next 25 minutes on getting clear on what the gap is, why that gap matters so much to you, why it matters to close that gap, and what actions you can take to close the gap. I think there are others of you on this call where maybe you've got little gaps. Maybe there's one big one, but there's some little ones. And you're like, Anne, now that I've sat here and I've noticed it, I've recognized what it is and I know what I need to do. Great. Maybe you're going to take these three questions and kind of make your own chart out of it and kind of look at a different situation multiple times over. That's fine too. And so for me, I am someone who wants to do that. I want to close all my gaps all the time. Some of you who know me are like, Anne, calm it down. It's just kind of how my brain works. Maybe it's a blessing, maybe it's a curse. But I do think there are times, like even as I just did that status quo chart, I've got four actions I'm already writing down and ready to take because I do want to really lead with intention and I want to start that process. I don't like feeling stagnant. And so if you are like me, I would draw a line straight down the page and I'm going to answer what's the gap I want to close about one situation? Why does this gap matter? And then what action can I take? And then I'm probably going to start over at the top. What's another gap I want to close? Why does this matter? What actions do I want to take? Why do we need to answer these questions? I think if all we did today was the front side of the worksheet and you went right back to work, you were recognizing the situation. You were noticing the situation, which is great. That's that first step to really investigate where you're at and what you want and what you have right now. This is the part where now we go deeper to investigate it so that we can be so clear on the action to take. And if we don't do this backside of the worksheet, they're just ideas. And they're going to be ideas that swim in your head. You're not going to take them because you're going to be thinking of all the different options that you have instead of filling out the back of this worksheet where question 3 literally says, what actions can I take to close the gap? And down below, it's going to be like, what one action are you going to take today? Right? Because we got to start and we got to start now. We're not going to say, oh yeah, in September, I'm going to start doing meetings. Start them now. Oh, maybe later this fall when things calm down and people stop doing their summer plans, then I'm going to take this action. Start now. That's how we start momentum. And then it's really going to pick up by the time all these summer vacations are done. So let's take a couple minutes. You're going to take a look at that front page. Maybe put a star next to the one that you're like, if I could solve this gap, my life would get significantly better. Take a look at that one. I want you to work on that one first. And then, yes, if you answer those questions really quickly, you can go ahead and tackle other gaps. But go ahead and take the next couple minutes to really get clear on what is the gap I want to close, why does it matter, and what can I do? And as I said, we're going to do some live coaching after this. So if you can't come up with an action, that's okay. That's actually great. It means you're so emotionally invested in this situation, and that's a great thing for a leader to be, but then we can help you get to that action step. So if you don't get the actions down, that's okay. Understand where the gap is and understand why it matters first. Give you a couple minutes. Let's jump into some live coaching. Now, I don't want this to feel like, oh my gosh, I have to have something she's going to coach me on. No, this is really just you sharing and us giving feedback, thoughts. We can drop in the chat and comment, or we can get back on video and use your actual voice. Either way, the goal in these sessions to ignite impact is not for you to sit and listen to someone tell you what to do. The goal is for you to reflect and really investigate what you need, what you can do about it, and to get ideas so that you can apply them immediately to your situation so that you can feel momentum. And that could come from myself, it could come from other people on this call. The whole idea is that we leave here at 1:45 feeling so fueled and fired up to go make a difference. The end, right? I used to say my message was captain your culture, how to help others thrive, or how to create a culture where others thrive. And then I realized, whoa, 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 what about us? What about us as leaders? And I am coming to you today as a leader who also is working on her own growth and her own systems. And that is the goal of these. We are coming together as leaders to learn and grow, apply, and see a shift. And so do not feel like you need to hold back or that this is going to be some crazy situation. This is just a sharing out loud so that we can go see even greater growth over time. All right. All right. Anybody willing to unmute and share their gap? I'm going to actually back up a slide so that we can, I think I can back up a slide. Why won't my backspace work? Is there a reason? Does anybody know? Welcome to my millennial technology brain. We'll just do it that way. That's easy enough, right? All right, what's the gap you want to close? Why does it matter? What actions can you take? And you can just share out. If there's a coaching moment, I'm gonna grab it. And if there's just you sharing, that works too. Anybody want to go? Unmute? Thanks,
Oh,
Mary.
all
Awesome.
right. So the gap that I've identified is I don't feel like any day is cohesive or has any sort of flow to it. Like I'm just jumping from thing to thing. And, um, at the end of the day, this is going down to why does this gap matter? Because it's just like every day just feels like stress and chaos.
Mm,
And like that I'm scattered and it just like I have a long-standing mental to-do list, mental noise. It doesn't matter. I have 7 different notebooks scattered around my desk of like, wait, where did I write about that? Because I had to come back to this and I forgot. Um, so it affects me. I think it affects my employees because it probably makes them feel like there's times I'm maybe not very dependable because now I'm like, oh yeah, I need to follow up on that, or yep, I still have to get back to you on that. So I will miss following through on things at times. And then, I just get to the end of the day and it's like, oh, this is awesome. I have completed absolutely nothing on my to-do list today and I've been here for 9 hours. Like, how did that happen? And so that is that.
oh my
Some
gosh, just
action.
real quick timeout. Like raise your hand just visually if this is also you. Mary, I was like dying. I was like, oh my gosh, she literally just said the words like, how have I sat here for X amount of time and not gotten anything done? I've literally said that out loud
Mhm.
over the course of the summer. So I'm with you. Help us understand when you were reflecting, what are some actions then that you feel like you could commit to or you could take?
Yeah. So some things that I've come up with and I have to decide what I can commit to is like
Yeah.
I think what I need to do. I have a bazillion meetings in a day, but
Mm.
I just need to, create maybe a like a rough outline and almost like I actually got a text message today. Side note, my nephew's getting married this weekend. So we got this little, and this is what made me think of it, this little like here's the schedule for the day. 9 a.m. hair, 9:15 this. And I was like, maybe I need to do something like that for my work life. Like maybe I just need to
Yes.
start balancing out, like, from 8 to 9 is when I'm going to devote to intake screening and reviewing reports. And then, so kind of have that rough outline and maybe even like, um, scheduling time for that to-do list. I've heard lots of things, I'm sure on podcasts and whatever, where you set like the 20-minute timer. So then I just
Yes.
focus for 20 minutes on like, okay, here's, one thing on my to-do list, and also not making my to-do list so long, but figuring out like what two things can I accomplish today? And then the other two things are going on, the thing for tomorrow, or like spreading it out throughout the week to be more reasonable in that. So really trying to prioritize that to-do list, scheduling time for items, and also just making space for those emergencies. Because in my world, those
They
happen an
happen.
awful lot. So
Yes.
even if I just like block out like an hour to devote to emergencies, and if for some miracle an emergency doesn't happen that day, and of course you would have to move things around, but at least I'm having time for that while still fitting in other things. So I don't know.
Love all of that. Have you heard of Monday Hour One?
No.
Okay, so basically what you just described as all those ideas, it's all in one system. So on Monday, hour one. So what time do you get to work?
Around 8 a.m.
Okay, so like you would tell everyone in the office or however you need to do that. You shut your door, you put a post-it on it, whatever it is. But
Mm-hmm.
Monday, hour one, or I like to do it on Friday just as a side note. Anyways, you take 1 full hour and you get out a notebook paper and you write every single thing you can think of. Because I love what you said, where there's like this never ending list. That is something that's going on in my brain all the time as well. And then when I put it down on paper, I can actually see, well, there is an end because you just sat for 5 minutes writing as many ideas as you came up with. And you really only came up with 14 things, which, yes, 14 is a lot, but like 14 things for the whole week, that's all you came up with. You can
Mm-hmm.
tackle 14 things, Anne. So the goal is you brain dump, you write down all the things you need to do. You take about 5 minutes to do that. Love your comment about timers. I have a very big ADHD brain. Timers are a lifesaver for me. So you write it down for 5 minutes, then you prioritize. You look at anything that has a deadline. You're like, oh, well, I wrote down that I have a 9 a.m. meeting starting in 40 minutes. Great. Put that down. That's under Monday. If you have things that need to be done by the end of day Monday, you're gonna star them. So now you can look and you're like, here's my Monday list. Out of the 14 things, here's 4 things I need to accomplish today. And then yes, time blocking. You put in all your meetings, you write them all in, and then you look, oh my gosh, I have a bazillion meetings. I will only have an hour and 25 minutes to accomplish these 4 things. And so it really allows your brain to say, I don't know if you're a procrastinator, but for me, I need to see that I don't have time for me to be motivated to get stuff done. And so
Mm-hmm.
it really is a way for you to say, you don't have time this afternoon because you need to leave the office at 4:30 and you have a meeting from 2 to 4:30. So really, all these 4 things now have to get done by 2 p.m. And it's just a way for you to like visualize it. You can see it. And then there's a time blocking you can put in like each day. Monday, I'm going to do that activity, these 4 things before noon. And like you said, give yourself that short amount of time. Hope there's little afternoon in case there's an emergency. But it's a way for you to really get clear and prioritize. The other thing you might be doing that I do is I'm looking at my whole August calendar right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I in my brain remembering what I have to do on August 26th? We're not there, but it's in that long list of to-dos that's sitting in my head. And so get it out of your brain, put it on a piece of paper, write it on the calendar, wherever it is, and let it go. I think sometimes we get really overwhelmed with future events, and you're like, I don't even need to be worrying about that yet. Yes, I need to get it done, but that is not something I need to be worrying about on Tuesday, August 5th. And so I loved your comment about prioritizing. And really taking a look at that. The other thing to write down, if you've never used, anybody on this call, if you have not used the Pomodoro timer, Pomodoro timer, it is an app. and it's a little tomato. I'm going to make sure it's a tomato. I'm 99% sure. It looks like a little tomato. And then it's just a play button. The cool thing about it is as it comes down, no, I don't want to rate you right now. As it counts down, it does a 25-minute timer. So there's the Pomodoro effect is a scientific based study that they did where the brain can really only focus for 25 minutes at a time. If you told yourself, I'm going to focus for the next hour, you're going to fail. And so for 25 minutes, our brains can focus. So this will count down. What I love about it is I don't know about you guys, but I get very distracted by my phone. So I'll be like Mary, and I'm like, okay, I got to add that thing on the calendar for August 26th. And then I'll click my phone to be like, what time was that starting again? And now I'm in my phone and I'm checking messages and I'm on my email and I'm looking at the weather and the AQI, right? Instead of getting to work. And so what happens is you go to click your phone, you see this on it, and you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be putting anything on the calendar right now. I'm supposed to be making or doing time cards. That's what I'm supposed to be doing for the next 25 minutes. So every time I get distracted and start to look at this, it's such a reminder of like, Anne, you said you were going to work on that email right now. Get back to work. So if you find yourself doing that, Mary, that's great. Another thing to add, not to overwhelm you, but another thought for you is I heard you saying, I want to get really specific on when I'm going to do certain tasks, but I get interrupted by coworkers, which that is part of your job, right? You supervise other people. But if
Mhm.
there's a way for you to set some boundaries up of, hey, everybody, I'm recognizing that I am getting really overwhelmed with my to-do list and I want to help everybody. If you can let me know in advance that you want to meet with me, even if it's just 30 minutes in advance, I'm going to be able to clear my mind. So I'm going to be able to help you faster, right? So think about setting some boundaries with your team. It may sound right away like, oh, she doesn't want to help us, but really you're saying, if I can just finish this email, I can give you my full attention and we can probably solve things a lot faster because I'm ready. That's
Mhm.
going to be another way for you to really get specific on when you're open and when you are actively doing your job, right? You made comments about the mandatory stuff you have to do and blocking time off for that before you go kind of check in with your team and things like that.
Mhm.
How do you feel about all those? It's a lot. If you had to
Mhm.
pick one, what are you like? Ooh, I like this one. What would you go with?
Monday, hour one.
Yeah. It's wild.
Mhm.
So side note, you can also do it Wednesday hour one. So I am like the queen of making my list on Monday and organizing it. And then by Wednesday, everything's gone off the rails. And that's okay. It's okay to say, like, before I sit down, I need to go back to my Monday hour one, cross everything off, and reprioritize it based on Wednesday.
Mhm.
But it is a game changer. I also think the visual for me of seeing it's only 14. It's not 1,000. You made the comment, I got a bazillion meetings. Write them all down. And then you can be like, I have 11 meetings this week. And that feels a little more digestible than you feeling like you've got, hundreds. I love it. Monday hour one. I do have a podcast episode about it. I'll email you.
Ooh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Let's do one more. Anybody else want to share their gap? I loved your why it matters, by the way, Mary, too. I like that you didn't just say it affects me. You were like, also, you didn't say disorganization, but you having a lot of tasks on your mind also affect your team. So I really like that you were reflecting on both, that it's going to be good for you and it's going to be good for them, which is a win-win. Kylie, I see you unmuted.
Oh, I can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yep.
Awesome. I would love your coaching in this. I do have so it's four gaps I want to close, but honestly they're pretty related and they all kind of tie together. So I'll
Yeah.
tell you what those four are. Uh, there's a gap in revenue that's
Mm.
uh, really stressful for us right now as we're building a business. There's a gap in the faith we have in ourselves to actually create the successful business that we want. And then we don't have a clear, like, vivid vision for the end. So there's that gap, which is kind of the same as faith, right? And then the fourth would be we have a gap in our social media. Like we're just really struggling to build the presence that we want. So those are kind of the four all related areas to building a business.
Give me one word that describes what you're really struggling with.
Probably faith or
Yeah.
belief in myself, I guess.
Yeah. I wrote down confidence with like a big box around it over and
Yep.
over and over, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely just
Uh-huh.
sounds like you have all these ideas. I know you personally. You've got all
Hmm.
these ideas, right? And
Uh-huh.
you want them all to work. I
Yep.
love you and I met recently and you were like, and then there's this, but we'll get there. And so you're there. So I feel like when you say the faith isn't there, it's there. You know this is going to work, right? You know this is going to work. I know this is going to work for you. You know this is going to work for you. Jake knows this is going to work. It's that confidence that you taking action is going to get the result you want,
Yeah. And
right?
in the moment, there's no like external validation
Mm,
because it's all in the future. Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to have that belief and that confidence right now that the future is going to turn out the way I want it to.
Yeah. But even if you did decide what the future turns out like, is that what if it's better? Right?
Oh,
Like if
yeah,
you're like,
right.
and this is exactly what I want a year from now. And what if it's better? So we got to let go of like, nope, this is exactly where we're going. And this is right. So I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
You need to trust the process and you want to
Yeah.
get there, but it might even take off in such a different way. So let's go to that last question. What's one action you can take to close the gap? Let's go with faith. Let's go with confidence. I also wrote down clarity, right? It
Yep.
sounds like you're struggling a little bit with clarity. Do you guys have a coach that you're working with, like business coach wise?
We have kind of a few on and off, but not like one single that we work with all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
that
I'm
is
just,
one thing I wrote down, to be honest, is I need to hire a coach.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And just again, for that business strategy, because you guys are trying a lot, right? What do
Yeah.
they call that? Like you're throwing a lot at the wall to see what sticks. And what's so hard in the beginning, Sarah Gagno, who's on this call, is helping me with my social media. And we're throwing stuff at the wall and we're trying new ideas and we're just finding out what sticks too. What's so hard is that wait time of like,
Yeah.
what is it though? Because you guys have done a
Yeah.
lot since the new year, right? Kylie, since
Yes.
January 1st, you guys have gone all in and you're on YouTube and you're gaining your platform and it's there. And now it's like it's just there. How do we get it to the next level? And I really think
Yeah.
it's you're looking for clarity, but you're also looking for clarity in your actions. Like what can I go do today that's gonna work? And I think any
Hmm.
business owner is going to tell you you won't know till it works. And
Yeah.
so it's crappy advice, but it's real. Some people would tell you, oh, just keep going on YouTube and be consistent. And other people would say, like, no, you need to do paid ads. But I think you just have to try and keep going and stay consistent. And I know you and I have talked about that too. Staying consistent and like looking for small little wins. You get one person to comment on a YouTube video and you're like, okay, they had to see something 7 times at least to even think about commenting. And so if you got them there, great. Now, how do we get more people there or whatever that is? And I think it really does come back to, getting some clarity through potentially a business coach. Um, I don't know if you do a lot of reading, so I don't know if there's a specific book that's sticking out in my head right now that's like, go do this. It gives you step by step what to do. But I really feel like your faith is there. It maybe is shaky because it's not working in the way you wanted it to yet.
Hmm.
I'm there with you, friend. But it's there because you guys wouldn't keep going if you didn't think this was going to work, right? The
Yeah.
other thing I'm sitting here thinking is your book hasn't even launched yet. And so
I
just to
know.
smile in that moment to be like, you're working so hard and you don't even have a tangible yet. And pretty soon people are going to have your product in their hands. And then you're going to be so grateful for all of the consistent content you just put out because now there's more for them to dive into versus you waiting for the big moment where that book is a success. And then you've got to hurry up and get consistent, right? So I feel like you're doing the actions. Now it is trust and faith that it's going to go through, but also it is kind of getting clear on what those actions are. And I don't have that answer today, but I do think like a business coach would be something in this space, in the space of what you're doing, which we know there's lots of people who do personal development and then want to coach you on it. So there's a lot of people in that space. Um, that would be my suggestion. And we should touch base because I feel like that's something I'm right in that corner too. So is that helpful? What's
Yes,
something
yes,
from that?
thank
What do you
you.
feel like? What's one action you're going to go take right now based on what we just said? And it doesn't have to be going and getting a coach, but one action to start to
That, I mean, I feel like that's probably what I need right now at this moment is business coach, and just to have someone like cheer a little bit of external cheerleading, like
yeah.
just to
And
be like,
accountability.
yes, yeah, and
Yes.
to just like help
Yeah.
me just keep going in this kind of purgatory time frame that I have before things actually get released and I do have a product to sell.
Yeah. And you do take off. I think that's so great. I love that you made the comment about like purgatory and that waiting period. And it's there for a reason. You, of all people, know that that shift does not happen the way you want it based on just your own story, right? It happened in the way that now is working for you. And so you got to trust that that's what's happening right now, too. So you're the best.
Okay, thank you.
I'm excited for you. Absolutely. All right, let's get to this transform. Real quick before we go. Now I'm asking you to commit, right? As we wrap up, let's commit. What is it? As a leader who can close the gap, I will. You are not going to share this. You are not going to tell us what this is. This is for you and you only, but write something down. Even if you have not written anything yet and you've just been listening and maybe you're playing with some ideas, but you don't want to put it on paper, put this answer on paper. As the leader who can close the gap, I will. It could be a small thing you're going to do, or it could be a big picture idea. But what action will you take this week to start to close that gap? And then my favorite question of all time, what if it works? What if you take this action? What do you gain? What do others gain? Let's go back to Mary's example. How beautiful in 2 weeks, Mary is feeling accomplished. Her team is feeling clear. Her team is getting a clear mind when they come to her with problems. She is feeling excited about her day because it's only got 3 things on it and 2 meetings. She's coming into 2 Thursdays from now just pumped, right? Like, think of that energy and that positivity and that momentum that you can have when you take the actions that we talked about today. I'll give you just 1 minute to write that. Thanks for your time. And we'll end with a challenge. I don't want any of these sessions ending with you taking this piece of paper and stuffing it under Mary's 13 notebooks. All right. I want you taking this piece of paper, keeping it out in front of you, and really going all in on what you just wrote down of what you will do, what that action is. Right? Momentum isn't built by leaps, it's built by consistent shifts in the right direction. So your challenge is you spotted the gap. You already did that today. Check. You're going to make one choice. You already did that today. Check. Now you got to go Take that action, however, and then notice the shift. We are going to be back here next week. I did have somebody say to me today, and I thought all of your webinars were on Thursdays. I really wanted to offer a couple different days of the week because there are people who have Thursday meetings at 1 p.m. that would not be able to join us. And so that's why we have a Thursday and then a Tuesday. So we have next Thursday, August 14th at 1 p.m. And then the following session, session 4, will be on a Tuesday. That'll be on Tuesday, the 19th. Our next one, we're talking all about belief. So we've really gone all in on who are you? Who do you need to be, right? How can you show up as your best self? Then today, how can we close the gap? And next is how can we get your team on board to start to close their own gaps and to help you close the ones that you listed today? Because yes, we can do a lot, and leaders already do a lot, but we need to build belief in our team, or even in Kylie's case, belief in the team she has with her spouse, so that it can spread to them and so others can be taking action and creating momentum for themselves as well. You guys were awesome today. Thank you for being on these calls. Thank you for watching the playlist if you're there, or the playlist, the replay, if you're there. If you are not connected, I believe you are if you've registered, you'll be starting to see some newsletters from me weekly. If you want more information about myself and what I'm up to, you can go on over to anvote.com. I do keynote speaking and culture coaching, as you saw on this call today. There is the What If It Works podcast, as I mentioned with Mary. There's an episode all about Monday Hour One and different things you can do to up your productivity. And then leadership trainings and workshops like today, I deliver to teams, not just on these calls. And coming soon, this September, Sarah and I are so excited to launch the Leader Collaboratory Cohort. It's going to be a 8-week program that you are able to jump into, get some knowledge and have some learning opportunities, but also have some weekly coaching sessions so that you can be held accountable and truly see some exponential growth. That's coming at you this September. I'm so excited for that. If there is anything from this call that you're like, Anne, I didn't get to be coached and I just have some questions, my email address is impact@anvote.com. I am an open book. I love helping other people, and I love coming up with ideas that help you create momentum. And so please reach out, shoot me an email, and let me know what you're struggling with, and let's get you some action steps so that you can go create change. Truly appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Because of time, I'm just going to wrap it up and let you go. I hope you have a great Tuesday. Take on that challenge. Notice the shift, start to take those actions, and you will truly create that momentum that I know is going to set you up for success. Have a great day, everybody.